Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. In today's episode, we have Beto O'Rourke going and interrupting Governor Greg Abbott during a press conference, and we also have AOC going after Republicans. As always, folks, if you want to join us here at the Bald Brad Show, or heck, support a conservative, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, share this link with your friends and family all over social media. And with that being said, let's jump into the clip.
2916. And at this time, I will pass the mic to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Sit down.
You're out of line and an embarrassment.
Sit down and don't play this stuff.
The next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, he needs to get his ass out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line.
So I want to pause it here just real quick. So you obviously have, I believe, the Lieutenant Attorney General there. You have the Governor Greg Abbott. Behind Abbott, you have Senator Ted Cruz. And then I think the gentleman that's telling them that he's out of line, I believe, and hopefully I'm getting this correctly, is the mayor of the actual town where the shooting took place. You have Beto O'Rourke coming in here, interrupting a press conference on something that's obviously a serious matter, saying this was totally predictable. You could have stopped this, all sorts of things. And what you're going to see in a moment is he's going to say it's on Greg Abbott, right? Which is the same thing that we saw from Whoopi Goldberg yesterday. This is the same thing we're seeing from AOC and a lot of Democrats. You know, it's Republicans' fault. It's Governor Greg Abbott's fault. They could have prevented this. See, you're supposed to be able to think inside somebody's head. You're supposed to know what they're going to do in the future so that you could stop it. These people are like some Minority Report stuff that they want to happen, which obviously isn't realistic. But again, it's not a shock that the Democrats and the progressive left don't deal with reality. Again, these are the same people that think that men can have babies. These are the same people that think that a man can be a woman. These are the same people that want to, in the same party, that want to kill babies when they're fully out of the womb. So we're supposed to take them all serious, but now they're going to do this type of charade here by interrupting a press conference.
Please leave this auditorium. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch that would come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
Exactly right. And he stops.
It's on assholes like you. Why don't you get out of here?
And then you got people shouting, let him speak and all this stuff. Look, he's there to create a political moment. That's why he stopped. He wanted to make sure the cameras were getting him, that he got his photo up there, that he stood up. Remember, this is the same guy that ran on having your guns being bought back, like a mandatory gun buyback is what he pushed. He also said, and I want to make sure I get this correct, I believe he said something along the lines of that he wanted to remove the AR-15, very similar to what Whoopi Goldberg wants to do. This is what the Democrats are trying to push, is have the AR-15 removed off the market. And I'm almost positive, I believe he said that in 2020 was when he wanted to have that removed, or at least if he were to get into office. Well, we also have a reporter that was in the room when this all took place, and this is what she has to say.
In the room, my goodness, could you make out what was being said by Beto O'Rourke?
Well, I did see what happened just before the press conference started. I was in the third row on the aisle, rather, and there were two people across the aisle from me, and a moment before the press conference started, they got up from their seats when Beto walked in. So they were seat holders for him, and then he sat down. So his presence wasn't really noticed in the 15 or 20 minutes that people were gathering inside because he was not in the room. So this seems something very clearly staged by Beto O'Rourke and his campaign wanting to confront the governor at this moment.
He wasn't even in the room, folks, for 15 to 20 minutes. But this is the guy that supposedly cares about all this, right? This is a guy that cares about what the governor's saying. This guy doesn't give two. He just wanted his moment, right? Because he wants to run again. He wants to be an elected official, you know, and all these things. This is a guy that wants to be elected and have your guns removed. He's going to give you some money for it, right? It's going to be a mandatory gun buyback. but he doesn't want you to be able to protect yourself, your family, your wife, your children, and also yourself against the government or foreign governments or foreign adversaries. Well, it's not just Beto O'Rourke. It's not just Bernie Sanders coming out of the woodwork. It's not just the Democrats in general, but you also have AOC here. This comes from also Blaze Media, and it says, Democratic Representative AOC of New York suggests that Republican Representative Lauren Boebert of Colorado should quit Congress. And we're about to get into some lengthy stuff here, folks, so bear with me. Boebert tweeted on Wednesday, "You cannot legislate away evil." Her tweet came in the wake of the deadly mass shooting on Tuesday at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. Quote, "Why even be in Congress if you don't believe in doing your job?" AOC tweeted in a response to her GOP colleague's post. Just quit and let someone who actually gives a damn do it instead of acting like a useless piece of furniture when babies are shot with AR-15s that we let teen boys impulse buy before they can legally have a beer. So there's a lot in there. I mean, the whole idea, and this continually comes from the Democrat Party, is that because you don't want to remove the AR-15 or because you don't want to limit guns, you don't want to take somebody's right to bear arms away from them, that you all of a sudden don't care, that you don't have compassion, that you don't give a damn, you might as well just quit and let people do their job by removing the AR-15 or put in more legislation that hinders your right to buy a firearm, all these things. Nobody's discrediting that the person was evil. Nobody's discrediting that that guy was a scumbag. And nobody's discrediting the firearms that were used. But she's saying teen boys impulse. Remember, those same teen boys of that age are able to fight for our country using firearms. So I think if you have the right to be able to stand up and fight for our country, you should have a right to also purchase a firearm. And I wouldn't say necessarily an impulse buy, because usually there is a time period from when you file your paperwork and you purchase the firearm to when you can actually get it. So there is a period of, it's not just you walk in and pick up the gun. I know some Democrats believe that. I know some on the left believe that you just walk in, no background check, here's the cash, thank you so much, walk away, and that's it, which isn't what happens. But again, it's not going to stop them from saying silly stuff, because again, if they say the silly stuff, there's going to be people that follow them and then they believe it. Well, Boebert replied to AOC, "Defund the police, gun-free zones have proven to be deadly." And that's exactly right. Statistically, a lot of these shootings take place in gun-free zones. "Let me know when you're ready to do your job and effectively protect our schools with armed security. Let's meet and solve this." I 100% agree. Again, as a teacher, I would love to see armed security there. I believe Audrey asked me, what type of security we have at my site. We have facial recognition. We have security at all entrances of the school site. We have security walking around. We've had the police department on campus on certain days whenever there was a scare or something even in the city was said. So it doesn't even have to be remotely near the school site. If there's anything that's been made known, we'll have police on campus. But I would like to see an armed presence on campus as well to make myself feel safer. I even talked to the officers, and this happened a few weeks ago. I even told the officers I was really thankful for them to be there. I offered them coffee, all sorts of things. I think an armed presence on campus would be ideal for vast majority of all campuses. If it's not going to be the teachers or the staff, hire that out and get somebody on there. Well, you have a Fox News reporter here that Texas DPS informed him that there was, in fact, a school police officer on campus at Robb Elementary who exchanged gunfire with the shooter, and the officer was shot and injured. That is when the shooter ran inside the school, barricaded himself in a class, and began killing. So it seems like if the officer were to kill him, then this would have been prevented and he wouldn't have been able to kill all those children. That's what it seems like. Don't hold me to that. I'm speculating on just based on what I'm reading. But at least the guy engaged him and fired. And imagine if he wasn't the only one carrying, maybe it still could have been stopped. So this gives more credence on, hey, we need people on campus that could stop this type of stuff. This guy was engaged with him. Look, he got shot and injured. The guy stood up. He did what he was supposed to do. And sometimes it doesn't go your way in a gunfight. And clearly it didn't go his way here. And it led to this terrible, terrible incident to happen. That is when the shooter ran inside the school, barricaded himself in the class, and began killing. Adding to this, Texas DPS tells me 3 local officers were injured in the shooting, and as a result of the shootout with the officer, the gunman dropped a bag of ammo he couldn't bring inside. Responding to was the county deputy engaged and had a weapon malfunction. You also have last year, AOC sounded off about a Christmas photo in which Boebert's son were holding a firearm. Tell me again where Christ said, use the commemoration of his birth to flex violent weapons for personal political gain. AOC tweeted, adding, LOL, at all the years Republicans spent on cultural hysteria of society, erasing Christmas and its meaning when they're doing that fine on their own. So God forbid you take a nice family photo here representing an all-American photo, right, folks? You know, having your kids holding firearms, none of their fingers are on the trigger. They're all holding it properly. They're not aiming it at anybody. And, you know, hey, they are probably going to be raised on how to shoot a firearm, how to respect a firearm, all the proper ways of utilizing it, you know. So, you know, more kudos to them. More kudos to him and her family. AOC was among those who pounced on Republican Senator Ted Cruz on Tuesday after the senator noted that he and his wife were praying for the kids and families after the shooting. If anybody's even remotely aware of Ted Cruz, you know, he's somebody obviously of faith. So I take those prayers that he's saying very seriously. And I'm sure that him and his family did do that and also prayed for the kids as well and many others. Heidi and I are fervently lifting up in prayer the children and families in the horrific shooting in Uvalde. We're in close contact with local officials, but the precise details are still unfolding. Thank you to the heroic law enforcement and first responders for acting so swiftly. Quote, aren't you slated to headline a speaking gig for the NRA in 3 days in Houston? No less. You could do more than pray. Faith without work is dead, AOC tweeted in response to Cruz. So she's just going out attacking. Again, this is all for political gain, folks, for her, where you have people that are of faith. There's nothing wrong with saying that you're going to pray. Okay. She's assuming that because he's going out and speaking at the NRA, that there's not work being done. He's not doing anything behind the scenes. But again, she's good at her job, folks. She's good at what she does. I don't agree with what she does. I don't agree with the things that she says. But the Democrat Party is pouncing on this moment. Just in the same way they pounce on racism, just in the same way that they pounce when a police officer, kills an individual. They're going to take these moments, they're going to grasp onto them because they know it leads to a political gain for them. Whereas you have the Republicans thinking more logically of like, can we at least have a conversation on what could realistically be done here to limit or help protect certain things from happening? But they don't want to have that. They go, we got to ban the AR-15. We got to get rid of it. It's like, but that's not going to stop it. Well, we need to get rid of it anyways because it's a gun of choice. Well, what's going to stop them before? Doesn't matter. This is the gun of choice. We need to get rid of it. So when you start asking questions, you're seen as the animal. You're seen as if you don't care. And this is always the go-to for Democrats. People like Beto O'Rourke, The View, Whoopi Goldberg, which is what we did yesterday, AOC. You're going to see Bernie Sanders and Lindsey Graham come on and do a debate soon about policy regarding guns. I would imagine some sort of policy regarding gun control, gun legislation, things of that nature. I'm sure that's going to be brought up in some way, shape, or form. I'm sure there's going to be silly things that are going to be brought up by the Democrat Party, maybe by Lindsey Graham. I don't know what he's going to say, but I want to at least bring this stuff to attention to you all because I don't know if it's going to be covered by other outlets on the Democrats going out of their way to stage things now after a freaking shooting. And it's so funny because on Reddit, people are like, oh, well, Brad's, capitalizing on the shooting by doing a video on it. I'm not capitalizing on anything. I'm bringing awareness to something that took place. I'm literally a teacher myself. I would think that people would want to hear at least a teacher's perspective on what took place. I wasn't capitalizing on anything. It's crazy what people are willing to say. A little bit different with Beto O'Rourke. He literally was capitalizing. That's why he stood there and was taking photos and that's why it was staged. That's called capitalizing. I didn't go in there and interrupt somebody. I did it on my own show. I spoke about the actual solutions that I thought would at least help the situation. I even said, look, I don't agree with what took place. I felt bad for the children. Like these people sometimes on social media, I don't think they fully grasp in the moment what they're saying. But that, again, the Democrats, the left, are absolutely insane on this stuff, but that's not going to stop them from telling all of us that we're not compassionate. We don't have empathy and all these things. So with that being said, folks, I can ramble forever, but thank you so much for supporting the Bald Brad Show. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so we can get conservative thought out there to new viewers. And as always, folks, I will see you later today here on the Bald Brad Show.